BigBear.AI stock is one of the top defense companies that's had a lot of conversation around it because of the AI growth we've seen in the sector. We were just checking out APLD, which is a data center builder, and I'm here in LA for the next 2 days before we head out of country, and we're enjoying some analysis. And while we're watching the top quantum companies and data center companies, the defense market is one to watch. Government shutdowns here, and we are seeing a little bit of a slowdown in the contracts, but BigBear.AI has seen a surge from around $1 a share last year around this time to up to $10 by February, and then building this market cap, they sold down to around 280 and then continued up. We have long-term positions in the company, but take a look at where they're at now. They recently got rejected back where they were in July, and that was at $8.50. But they've seen some developments happen since then that potentially this time they can hold some of that momentum. When we're looking at where they're at here, you can see they've got this trend where they've started to build up and then recently corrected back down. There is this rising support that they could hold. There's also a previous resistance level here around $7 a share. So that $7 price point is going to be the support. But we're looking at a couple things here. You have the market to focus on with Big Bear. You have the technology that they're bringing, and then we have the financials and also the chart, because there is a few things about this chart that are interesting, especially when we look at some of the averages and seeing it kind of holding in the past below that EMA, and now recently they started to push back up and potentially can use that EMA as a support and keep that momentum. So here's what we know about BigBear.AI. They are actually a data company. If you look at the CEO, he was previously the acting secretary of US Department of Homeland Security. And during the first Trump administration there, he founded a company called Pangiam, which was bought by Big Bear in 2024. And then prior to Pangiam, McLennan was commissioner of US Customs and Border Protection. So that side of things lines them up to be a company that already has some connections in the same industries that they're looking to grow in. Now, most of these industries, it's not actually that they need more personnel. It's not that they need, more work or more labor. In fact, the opposite is kind of true. A lot of these defense sectors and government agencies are looking to build in technology that's using AI. So Shipyard AI allows them to help build the different ships that are required for the Navy or for constructing infrastructure in the Naval Department of the government. But really where they're focused on, even in their a little bit here in RX, they're focused over in model and simulation and all of the data that comes along with that. So if you look at the different computer vision, the modeling and simulation, they have something called VeriScan. So that scans the faces of people at airports. So on one side, they're doing kind of like consumer behavior or even just consumer or person-to-person security. So all the people that are coming in and out of the US, going into the airports, they have this tech. And we're flying in and out of LAX airport recently, and they use this technology on me. They scan my face. So I know that it's there. It's real world usage. And if you look at the integration, they're not only getting contracts with the government, they're also here working with Delta. They're working with the airports. And when you have technology that's focused on the AI integration that also collects large amounts of data, that gets government attention even more. So that's why they're getting the Department of Defense contracts or the Army contracts, and why they might be one of the top contenders for this TSA contract. So this is still kind of in the person to person. There's also a business side of things that we're going to jump into. But the data that they're working with now and how they're using AI, you can see that they're focused here on a few things. First thing, the TSA announced this screening partnership, and they're looking to reduce reliance on manual labor, incorporate AI-driven threat detection, and much more. Now, AI and machine learning is something that the TSA is going to implement more, along with digital IDs and things like that. And that's exactly what Big Bear is doing here with this technology they're deploying. at Denver International Airport, at JFK and others. They just had one at Nashville. They're in Chicago. They're at Heathrow. But this is where things get a little more out of the realm of that side of things, which is into the Panama Canal. With the Panama Canal, we know that there's been some struggles over there. It's actually been kind of a security measure upgrade recently after the shipping with China and Chinese control potentially in certain areas of the Panama Canal. And so they recently, we saw that BlackRock was buying some ports there and basically went under the nose of the Chinese and purchased some infrastructure. And while Big Bear is working in drones with other companies, U.S. Army Drone Swarm or Palantir, they also have this Panama focus. So with the Panama Canal, they're focused on the computer vision that can basically just help them see what's happening easier. So if you look at, let's say, any port of entry, like you have a bunch of ships coming in and out, right? Well, with this technology, it's predictive intelligence, and it's under their product suites as what's called Arcus. I can see if I could find it. There it is. And basically, it sees all of the ships coming in and out. I think they even have satellite partnerships. Maybe that's with Redwire. I'm not sure. I know they have a partnership with Redwire. But it could see the different ships coming in, give you real-time alerts on those ships, and tell you, where these ships are going, where they're coming from, and the predictive forecasts for what might be a threat, what's something to watch out for. And they're deploying that technology over in the Panama Canal, which is a place of interest for the US government, which potentially would lead to more contracts in the future. Now, aside from that, their financials have kind of been the piece that, while we see them surge, we see them make this run recently from $4 back up to $8.50, basically doubling their share price. We're still looking at the financials. We're saying, okay, revenue is still pretty low. And while their balance sheet has increased up to 600 million, it's still fairly low. And what's going on there? Well, a lot of it here, it's kind of similar to what you'd see in the quantum market. The quantum computing market has surged to all-time highs. I mean, we have a position over on Rigetti. It's up 315%, and Rigetti's got up to like 40 something dollars. The reason why is because the investors are looking at quantum and saying, all right, maybe it's not quite in position yet. It's not quite ready for commercialization, or it's even a few years away. But a few years from now, how will that scalability integrate with AI? It's going to be huge. It's going to be big. Quantum is going to help AI scale and reduce the amount of energy for computations, and quantum computing is the obvious solution. However, they're not there yet. And so a lot of people look at the valuation and say, look, there's no revenue. Why are these companies trading so much higher? Well, kind of same thing with Big Bear. You look at them, they're at a market cap of just 2.7 billion. Not big, but definitely bigger than where they're at with their current revenues. I mean, when you're making, let's say, $150 million a year and just barely up like 2% a year on revenue, there's not anything there where you're like, wow, they are really doing good. It makes sense or $2 billion, $3 billion market cap. It doesn't really make sense for that. But what do people see in Big Bear? They see the infrastructure builds. They know that TSA contract that we went over here, that .gov article, that request for information and the dollar values on this project are in the over $5 billion. Then you kind of look at the institutional holdings have increased, driving the stock up. What do we have coming up that this company would benefit from? It's going to be the mega events like the 2026 FIFA World Cup. So tons of people are going to be coming in the US. Then the 2028 Olympics, both coming to America in the next couple of years. So leaders across government and industry have a rare opportunity to advance the national security. And this is straight from Big Bear. Big Bear is saying, hey, these events are coming up. We're going to be focused on this so that we can be the company that can provide the solutions that the government's going to need around the tech, around the software or the AI that can help them with this massive amount of volume of people that are coming into the US. So that is why Big Bear has been a focus right now. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean they're going to continue up and that they won't correct back down further, but we do see a support level right now, and we're gonna watch it here. It's at around 720. See them previous resistance levels there, where they have bounced, they have been rejected, and they just pulled down to that level. And so we want to watch the $7 price point. That's a key level for them. It's also above the moving average. If we see them break below 7, next level of support, we're looking probably going to be right about here. This level of support here around $6.50. And that would be a continued sell down of around 10%. So there's some risk on the shorter term trades here. But if you have a plan, like we did this morning when we were trading Redwire went down today 10 or 11%. We bought an 8% dip, sold when it was up to just negative 7%, so that we made money by simply managing risk. And so as long as you have a plan together and you put together that plan, a really good plan we oftentimes use, if you guys would like to grab it for free, it's this profit calculator. And I'll type in, what we're doing. This was our trade this morning on Redwire, actually. And we were going for a profit here of around 10 to 12%. We ended up locking in just a little, about 1%. So a very small trade. But we just did a TSSI trade recently where we ended up locking in close to 500 or 600 yesterday when we were at the airport. And when I was at the airport, I was doing the trade, and apparently they were boarding. My wife thought that I already knew they were boarding, and I was the last person on the plane. I almost missed the flight, actually, because we were doing our live session in Stockmates. But yeah, so if you want to grab that, it's the first link below. If you guys ever want to join our daily live trading sessions and see our entries, see our exits, it's the second link in the description below to join us tomorrow morning at Market Open. And you get a free t-shirt when you join as well. And right now you can get lifetime access. We have it open for now. Feel free to go grab access. Appreciate you all. If I earned your thumbs up, hit the like button. Let me know your thoughts on Big Bear down below, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.